I'm Dr. Deb Butler, and you are listening to Thinner Peace and Menopause and Beyond. This is episode number 331. Welcome to Thinner Peace and Menopause and Beyond. This is Dr. Deb Butler, Master Life and Weight Coach, and as always, your coach. If you're a woman and you're smart and you're successful and you've been struggling with weight your whole life, and now menopause is making it harder than ever, and you are ready to make this the last time you ever have to go on a diet again, then this podcast is for you. Stay tuned. Well, hello, all my dear friends all over the world. How are you today? It's a hot one in St. Louis, but let me tell you what, I've got a hot podcast for you today. I actually have another one of my really beloved clients. Her name is Donna, and I am so excited to share her journey with you. We've actually worked longer than a few months. We've actually worked together almost a year. And the reason that I'm having her on is because she sent me a letter about a month ago, and it was so touching to my heart that I wanted to share her experience of working with me, where she was, where she is now. I really wanted to share it with you because I know, number one, you'll relate to her. And also, I know that she will inspire you. So before I actually go to the interview, I want to read you the letter that she sent me. And from there, then I'll go to the interview with Donna. But here's her letter. Dear Dr. Deb, my son's wedding was an absolute dream. It was the most joyous weekend of our lives. Everything was perfect. My son and daughter-in-law brought so much love and light to every event. We were all floating on air. I want to thank you especially because I felt great. I felt great in my body. I was totally present. I was focused and happy and not self-conscious. I was in the moment, every moment. You helped me so much to get there. You helped me to tap into what's important, to bring my best self to the table, to look at the people around me instead of inside my own brain, to feel the ultimate gratitude, to control my thoughts around facts, and by doing that, create positive emotions and actions. And yes, I think I look great and my weight was fine. And I'm so appreciative of you helping me get there. I was in control of my eating and drinking the entire time and mostly on vacation on Cape Cod afterward. Not perfect, but planned and happy. I did not beat myself up once. Well, I did once because I grabbed the wrong end of my curling iron and burnt my hand when I was in a rush. But other than that, my mind was intentional. I just can't thank you enough. Also, when I came home and went back to work, I did so with no shame or guilt that I was behind. I came with joy and confidence, and those I work with matched my attitude. Even though we had a board meeting the week that I returned, I kept my positive attitude and it all worked out well. I'm attaching some photos for you. These aren't the professional ones, but you'll get the idea. I hope you are well. We both have birthdays coming up. Mine is this Thursday, and I love mine as much as you love yours. So happy birthday to you with great fondness, Donna. And listen, to everybody that's listening to this is not where Donna lived a year ago. So this letter really was so heartfelt to me for her to have been in that place and to be living in that place now and to have enjoyed that wedding and herself and those around her. And when you hear this interview, I want you to hear about where she was and where she is now and her process, because I believe it will help you too. So sit back, take a walk, take a bath, whatever it is, and enjoy this interview with Donna. And I'll pop back on a little bit at the end and say a few words. Hi, Donna. Welcome to my podcast.
Thanks so much. I'm so happy to be here.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, you and I have had quite the journey together, have we not?
Yes, we have.
And one of the many reasons that I wanted to bring you on was we probably stopped working, I don't know, maybe it was 3 or 4 months ago. I think it was something like that. Was it that long?
Yes, we did the first 12
Yeah, but
weeks.
when we stopped for good.
And
Never for good, never for good. But the last time we stopped.
Yes, was about 3 months ago.
Yeah. Okay. And I would say maybe a month ago, you sent me a letter and I already read it to our audience. But I just have to tell you how touched I was by your letter and your own transformation of your own experience at the wedding. And what I want you to first start to talk about is where were you before you hired me? And in terms of how you thought about your body, your life, your weight, where were you?
I was very discouraged, actually. I found you
Yeah.
because my company hired Bridget Sampson to do some professional coaching,
Yes.
executive coaching for us.
Yes.
And she's a client of yours.
Yes.
And I signed up for her emails and her newsletters. And she was advertising a 1 hour webinar on a Saturday regarding cravings.
Uh-huh.
And cravings were always my big thing, like nighttime eating. That was my thing. And that's still my weak point when all the emotions bubble up. It's
Yep.
still nighttime where I'm like, okay, I've controlled myself all day. So I'm not saying it goes away completely, but
Yeah.
controlling my brain, it's gotten me so far. So I went on her craving webinar and
Yeah.
she said, I've been working with Dr. Deb Butler all these years. She is the guru. And if you really want to learn more about this, go to her podcast.
Hmm.
And I started at number one. And like almost every one of your other listeners, I binged until I got current and I listened to some others again. And I told all my friends, you have to listen to Dr. Deb. She changes everything around about what we've been doing all these years.
Yeah.
And so I had gained a lot of weight. More than the weight, though, I was
Yeah.
not happy with my behavior. I was being controlled by food, by
Yes.
cravings, by nighttime eating. I didn't have any control.
Yeah. That's
And
what you believed before you hired me is that you could not control yourself
correct,
around food.
correct. And I didn't know why it was happening. I couldn't determine why it was happening. And the biggest difference between then and now is my behavior for sure, but more that I'm in control. This is my body. I know what works for it. My brain is an uncontrollable toddler. Sometimes I let it get away with things,
Of
just like
course.
when I was a toddler, a mother of young children. I mean, there are times where I'm like, I'm tired of fighting you.
Yes.
Just whatever you need, go for it.
Yes.
Most of the time, I have the upper hand. And even when I let it go, I
Yes.
still am doing it knowledgeably. And so that's the huge difference for me. And it's affected every other element of my life that I'm able to do that in other ways too. So I'm always working to bring my best self
Uh,
to every situation
yeah.
by looking at the model and the thoughts that I have about that situation and then
Mhm.
questioning those thoughts. Like, is that just a thought that doesn't rise to the circumstance? So is there another thought you could be having about it that
Mhm.
might change it around, like in
Mhm.
business, with my family, in every way?
Yeah. And what I remember a lot about you too was that when we're talking about thoughts and changing thoughts, that is part of the work that we did together was to recognize what you were thinking to begin with before you could change it. And I think you did a lot of work on yourself with excellent coaching, but a lot of work on having the awareness of what you're thinking. And I think what a lot of people get confused about sometimes is that they always want to change it. And, sometimes we have to sit, and I want you to talk about this because it's something that you just kind of brought up recently about negative emotion. And sometimes you just have to sit with what you're thinking and what you're feeling before you can change it.
Absolutely. So one of the big things that you got me to was determining what I was just talking about before, like
Yeah.
the thought as fact.
Yeah. So say a little bit about that because some people don't know about the model. One of the things that I'll just bring up is that when we're talking about a model, we always have a circumstance or a fact that triggers a thought. And what you're referring to is sometimes the thoughts and the circumstances, the thoughts and the facts get mixed up.
Correct.
Yeah.
So I would think, well, these people are thinking that, and
Yes.
they're going to think this about me. And when I walk in, they're going to say, look how much weight she's gained, or all my self consciousness was trying to predict what other people thought. So you challenge that with me. And then the real effective part of that was I said, well, you can't prove it's not a fact. and you can't prove it is a fact. And then you were like, and so what if they do? So what if they do? And you took me down that road of so what, which made me realize the only thing that really matters is what matters to me and what bringing my best self. I'm sorry, I keep saying that, but
You can say it a lot.
walking in as the person that I feel and want to be, that changes the landscape for people. Being unapologetic, being very clear about who I am and how I feel about that person that I aspire to be makes me feel like I am going to meet mean people in the world. I am going to meet people that don't treat me nicely in the world. And it affects me, of course, but I have to think about that's more their problem than my problem. I can affect the way people treat me and act towards me by presenting my best self. It's hard for me to actually explain that more.
Yeah, well, no, I think you're doing a really good job. But I think what's really important, what I'm hearing from you, is that you just thought you could read people's minds.
Correct.
Right. Because I used to think that too. And there's a lot of people listening right now that believe they're mind readers, that they can look at somebody's face or they can walk into a group and know what they're thinking. And you get so concerned about what other people are thinking that you lose focus and connection with what is going on for you and what you're thinking. And I think what happened to you in your transformation is you let that go and you got much more connected to what you're thinking and what you're wanting and what your desires are, because you had a lot more control over that than you did over the other people that you're looking at, being at work, being at your family, being wherever it is.
Right. Being the universe,
Yes.
like you really just don't have that much control over the universe, but we have almost total control over ourselves.
We have total control over what we think.
Correct. How we think about a given situation and even your own body. I mean, there are just facts about your body. And
Yes.
I was thinking about this, how some people view the fight against the weight gain after menopause and the real difficulty in losing weight after menopause and just really tapping into what makes your body run. You're not going to read that in any book. I mean, you could, and it might give you an idea and you might think about things. But at this point in our lives, we kind of do know our bodies. And there's a bit of acceptance. It's like, I want chocolate cake. Well, okay, you can eat whatever you want. Nobody's stopping you from eating whatever you want. But you have to really understand your own body. And does that make your body run better? Do you actually feel better afterwards? What part of you actually really wants the chocolate cake? You have control over that. And saying like, I hate that I'm postmenopausal and I can't just stop eating for a day and lose 5 pounds. Oh, sorry. You can hate it if you want. Not going to get you very far. I thank God I have legs every day that make me be able to move and that I can walk and do the things. If I couldn't move my body, that would be really bad. But I'm sorry. And there may be people listening who do have a hard time moving. And I don't mean to say that.
You're just saying that you appreciate what you do have.
I appreciate what I do have. And the fact that my body can't shed pounds away, that's a fact. I don't know what to tell you. That's a fact. And that's what I have to deal with. And I can cry over it or just do something about it. I mean, there are some things about your body that you will cry over. And that's tough. But even those things, I do feel a different strength in myself to be able to deal with those kinds of adversities.
Yeah. So what I think you're saying is that now that you have more awareness of what's going on in your mind about, it could be anything. It could be about food. It could be about your body. It could be about people. But now you have an understanding of that. And you know that your perception is what creates your reality, like how you see your body. Tell everybody. I think it's interesting because, how much weight did you want to lose?
I wanted to lose 10 pounds.
Right. And I just want everybody to see, for you, that 10 pounds was a 100-pound burden.
Correct.
I just want everybody to see it. It doesn't really matter how much weight you have to lose. What matters is what you carry in your head about it. And even when you had 2 or 3 pounds to lose, it seemed to me as I was coaching you, it was still like a 100-pound burden, right? In the old days.
Yes.
How is it for you now?
I lost a good portion of the weight. I did not lose all of the weight.
Yep.
And my weight still fluctuates at, 2 to 3 pound
How do you handle that?
With a lot of acceptance and a lot of acknowledgement that I've made choices that I'm not judging myself. I'm not self-flagellating. There are choices that I make
Mhm.
that would make my weight, the 2 to 3 pound thing, I don't care about because that's just in a normal, people just do over
That's how
time.
you think about it now.
My body does.
Uh-huh.
I go up
It's
and
how
down.
you think about it.
If I want to lose another good chunk of weight, I know what I need to do. And I know that the choices I'm making will either make that happen or not,
Mhm.
essentially.
Mhm.
So I use my scale as a measuring tool to
Yeah.
give.
Say a little bit about that. Say a little
Well,
bit about the difference between weighing yourself, say, a year ago and weighing yourself now.
weighing myself a year ago was really torture. I just had never seen those numbers before. I didn't feel in control. I really was very, I look at it and say, oh, how could you, like, you were so stupid. Like,
That's the way you would talk to yourself. Mhm.
really, I know that you have other clients and listeners who do
Yes.
that. And then I would just stop weighing myself. Like, I don't want to know, like, surprise me and see, and I could put on my clothes and I know on any
Mhm.
given day what's happening. And then I listened to all of your podcasts about this is a measuring tool. It's anything else. It just gives you information about where you are and just use it like that. Like, oh, that's interesting. And I would hear your other clients say, oh, that's interesting. What can I learn from that? And I would say, oh, that's just BS. Like they don't really think that. They want to throw it out the window too, or that's because they're losing tons of weight. And so they're
Uh-huh.
happy to see that or something like that. But then like all of a sudden I'd say, oh, that's very interesting. Let's look and see in the food journal, what did you have yesterday? Or what
Yeah.
happened last night that might have caused that little blip on the scale? And what can you do about that? And do you want to do anything about that? It's up
That's
to
a good
you.
question. Do you feel like, because you used to be really hard on yourself and you kind of spoke to that of how you used to talk to yourself. So, how do you talk to yourself now? And how have you gone from more punishing ways to speak with yourself with more compassion and kindness? How do you talk to yourself now?
I actually think this is the biggest difference in my life now than my
Uh-huh.
life before.
Uh-huh.
Because the way I spoke to myself, it wasn't just my weight, it was my abilities in my job, my
Yes.
relationships with people, my relationship to the world. Did I say something wrong? They're going to think I'm an idiot. They know I don't have enough experience. I don't really know this that well. If I
Yes.
let on that I don't, they're going to see me as a fraud. I mean,
That's how you used to speak to
all
yourself.
the time I would go to bed at night. My poor husband would have to listen to me just berate myself. Like,
Yeah.
I shouldn't have said this. I shouldn't have said that.
Mhm.
And this is really the biggest change for me is
Yeah.
that I don't really do that anymore. Because I'm so much more in touch with where I am in the present that
Oh,
most of the time I don't say anything that I don't want to do. Occasionally, I still come from
of course,
emotion.
just like the toddler every now and then.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
But
But
most of the time, I'm able to just be calm and be able to evaluate what I just heard, how I'm going to respond, and respond as I look at myself differently. I look at myself as a mature woman with a lot of life experience, quite a bit of business experience, not the most. I didn't go to business school. I did go to law school, but I didn't go to business school. I
oh, you
don't
just went to law school. Okay, well, never mind.
but there's certain skills that, millennials have now. I was just talking to my daughter about
But,
this last night.
but I want to just interject for a minute because I think what I'm really hearing from you is that you're recognizing your own strengths
Correct.
and you're speaking to yourself and telling yourself what your strengths are instead of your weaknesses. I
That's
think you were
sorry, I
always
digressed
going,
a little
you
bit.
were always cutting yourself down and going to the weakest points and speaking to yourself and making yourself feel badly. And now, what I hear, and I think what you're saying is now you recognize all the good things about yourself and you can talk to yourself from there
It's true. And I don't have to go to external sources like my best friend or my husband
to
when
make
I'm
you feel better.
yeah, to make me feel
Oh,
better because I can do it in the moment of,
oh
oh,
my
okay,
gosh.
well, what do you know? And if you don't know this, so what? The so what question really works well for me. So what? So who can you ask who does know?
Yeah.
Or ask another question about that. Be curious. Curiosity you teaching me about curiosity has changed my life, really, because I used to think asking questions showed weakness or
Uh-huh.
showed knowledge that you didn't have. And now people love to talk about themselves and they love to talk about what they know. And most of the time, they're not thinking, oh, she doesn't know that. They're thinking, let me tell you about that. So I get the knowledge and they feel good about themselves. Win-win.
And you feel good about yourself because you're working from your end on what feels right to you. And you're staying connected to you instead of trying to connect to an outside mind. Because, Donna, that's the biggest thing that I see about you. So I keep repeating it is that you live inside your own self now and you know what's going on inside your own self. And I think, and you can say something about this, I think the reason you don't go to external sources anymore is because I think that you've learned how to be your own best friend.
Oh, that's interesting.
That's what I hear.
Yes, I think that's right. So my mom passed away 6 years ago this month.
Mm-hmm.
And that really changed my life dramatically. She was my best friend.
Yeah.
And she was my biggest cheerleader.
Yeah.
And losing her, I just lost that person. Well, you're close with your mom. I lost that person in the world who I could tell anything about my children to, and it wasn't bragging. I could tell my innermost thoughts. I just found a poem that I wrote in ninth grade, actually, about being able to tell my mother anything and to still be her baby, even not being a baby anymore.
Yeah.
So I really had to build up. I mean, I had always been hard on myself, but I really literally always had my mom on the other end of the phone saying,
not beating you up and being kind to you, using the self-kindness, but it was still an external source.
Correct. And I've been able to internalize a lot of her voice and a lot of things of like, now I'm a mother-in-law and she was a very good mother-in-law. I'm thinking about what kind of mother-in-law I want to be. And, I can't go to her. So I have to use her. I had her for 6 years to really, that's not true, 50, more than that. But anyway, I didn't have that part. I didn't have the cheerleader part. That's what the cheerleader part. Yes. And it really took my work with you to be able to bring those voices inside of me and to just say, yeah, you're okay. You know what you want and you know what you need and you're okay. You're just okay. You're not the best in the world. You're not the worst in the world. You're you. And that's good. That's good enough.
Okay. So now when people hear you, they're going, wow, I'm sure when they hear how you're speaking about yourself. And it just wasn't always like this. So for me to listen to you talk now, it still feels my heart just warms up so much hearing you speak about yourself. And it comes so natural to you now. But I just want everybody that's hearing this, if this was a transition that you went through, it was a journey that you went through. You didn't just talk like this from the beginning. This was something that you learned how to do, and it is teachable.
It is teachable. And one of the things I think I wrote to you was one of the things I've learned that you say a lot, and Brooke Castillo, who you also recommended, I listen to, says a lot, is I can do hard things.
Absolutely.
And this was a hard thing. I'm not underestimating how difficult, and I didn't get it. Honestly, even after our first 12 weeks, I got a lot of it, but it took a long time on my own.
Yeah. So I want to stop for just a minute on this because I want to just say, so when we stopped after the first program, you had lost the weight. I just want everybody to hear this, but you didn't at some level feel that deep connection to yourself and that this could be the last time. So talk about that as we go to the next set.
I couldn't answer that question and I didn't answer the question. And I remember you saying, you've done every single bit of homework I've given you to do on time before a set. You've done every single thing and you haven't completed the why is this the last time?
Yeah.
Because I didn't get it. I didn't understand the question. And we had one follow-up visit after that. And then I made a leap and then I needed to come back to you again for that further.
Right. Like you decided that we stopped after the program. But what I want people to realize sometimes is it's not just about the weight loss.
Not at all. Not at all. The why is this the last time? I was like, all of a sudden I had this conversation with you and I was like, oh, that's what you mean. Like, why would I never look to anything else? Like, why do I used to like read these diet things all the time. Like, oh, if I eat grapefruit standing on my head with my toes wiggling, I'm going to lose. I read everything. And I still am very interested in nutrition in the body.
Of course.
They're always, finding out new things about that. So I am very interested in that.
Of course.
But I just skip through those articles now because I know my body. I know what I need to do. There is nothing I can learn from fad things or things like that I don't already know from my work with you. Because a lot of my friends, oh, I lost 22 pounds. I'm just doing this or I'm just doing that. I'm like,
right.
But do you know when you're hungry? Do you know when you're full? What if you just listened to when you were hungry and you were full? Don't you think your body would regulate to where it's supposed to be? And if you're going to eat when you're hungry to when you're full, you're not going to eat chocolate mousse every time because you're going to have to eat a hell of a lot of chocolate mousse to get full, right? And it's not going to run your body. And I asked this question, do you know when you're hungry and when you're full? They're like, what are you talking about?
I know. And that's kind of where you were at. You were used to either following some kind of external diet or being discouraged and frustrated and never
in the cabinet.
Yeah. So why is this the last time you'll ever lose weight again?
I've heard your other listeners say this.
Yeah.
You can't unlearn what you know. You can't get rid of it. I know now pretty much what I just said to you. And look, I don't want anybody to think that life is, 100%.
Or we don't want anybody to think you're perfect either. So everybody just right now, in case you think she's perfect, she's not. Okay. Because I knew you were going to say it.
No. The issue is that things still come up. Like I've had this last week, I came off of a huge high from the wedding and I'm like, I've got this. I can control everything coming at me, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. And then things got overwhelming again. And I had to really sit this weekend with the overwhelming feeling and just feel the overwhelming feeling and think, what can I do? What's the first step? What do I have in my control? What part of this is making me feel that way? Because here are the facts and here's the emotion and they're not really matching up. I have these tools now. And if you remember, one of my biggest fears when we started working together was being hungry. Do you remember that?
I do remember. And that's for a lot of people.
I was petrified because so many guys I had gone on, I was starving all the time. Yes. And you said, I promise you, you will not be hungry. You will eat when you are hungry. You will eat until you're full, not stuffed. And then when you get hungry again, if you're actually really hungry, you will eat again. And I thought, oh yeah, I'm going to lose weight on that way. It worked. So how can you go back to something else, when you can be comfortable? I mean, no, you can't have chocolate cake every day if you want to.
Donna, be honest with me. Do you really want to eat chocolate cake every single day, all day?
Dessert comes. My friends order dessert. I have no desire for it. No desire.
And it's not like you wouldn't eat it.
I would 100% eat it if I wanted it. And I only got guilted into it one time, which was on my birthday. I usually am very easy to say thanks. I'm full. I'm full. I just eat dinner. I'm full. I don't need it. I drink a lot of water now because.
So how did you get, a little coaching moment for everybody. How did you get guilted? Because in other words, you had a feeling of guilt and what did you do?
It was my birthday.
Yeah.
I remember my birthday. Oh, happy birthday to you.
I know.
And they had ordered things they thought I would like. And they were just, it's your birthday. You have to have someone's birthday. And I succumbed. What can I say?
So do you think you did it to please them? Do you think it was do you really think you felt guilty? I'm really curious about that. Just for everybody, because you are advanced when it comes to all of this. And we still get this stuff. It still comes. I just want everybody to see it.
I think the biggest thing was I thought I could say no, but it does look really good. It is my birthday. And I actually have to really think about what motivated me to actually take a bite. But the big difference is that I took a bite. I took a bite and I said, oh, that really is so good. And that was it. I just took a bite. So maybe I was guilted into it. Maybe there's a little bit of a little girl in me who was like, I don't know. It looks good. I'll have a bite, and that's it.
You know what I would do? Just listening to you is I would just skip that story. I think you just wanted to take a bite and see what it tasted like. Well, I'll try it.
Yeah.
No guilt. I think guilt would have been what it would look like. Guilt looks like eat the whole cake or eat this or eat that to please other people. I just think you were doing it because it was your birthday and you wanted to try a bite. So I think I would just change the story. I don't think I would have said, because we're both advanced, but for people who are listening to this, is I doubt you were really guilted into it. I think that it was just your birthday and you wanted to have a bite and it was no big deal. And it was just no big deal. No big deal.
It was
A big deal would have been a long time ago where you would have gone, well, as long as I'm starting, I might as well keep going and then go home and do your whole nighttime thing and then blah, blah, blah. But no, a bite, it tasted good and I'm done. So in my mind, happy birthday.
Thank you very much. I think that's right. I think because I eat so little of it now.
Yeah.
I did think about it a lot, but it just, yeah, you're right. It was no big deal.
It was really no big deal. I would just change the story just a little bit. It's like if I was coaching you, this is what I would do right now. I go, really? Are you sure you felt guilty? I don't even think you did.
Yeah.
I would just probably skip it. Okay. So one more thing I would love to talk just a little bit about, because most people that are listening have something going on at nighttime. And like you said at the beginning, is that if you're going to have cravings or urges, it's usually going to be at night. And I also know that you've learned how to handle urges. And I know you've learned how to handle nighttime overall, even though there are times when you still eat when you're not hungry and then you come back very quickly. So if you could just give people a little idea of what urges were like for you before, what they're like now, and why nighttime isn't the way it used to be.
This was my big issue, was nighttime and kind of the snowball effect of getting started and just literally scouring the cabinets and the refrigerator for different things to eat. By the way, there's still times,
That's what I'm saying. It's like, and I think it's really beautiful for people to see. It doesn't mean that it's 100% no nighttime eating.
Right.
We're talking about the difference.
Yes. So after dinner, I really try to differentiate between thirst and hunger, because a lot of times I'm really thirsty after dinner. Something I've eaten has made me thirsty. It turns out I'm thirsty a lot, and I was mixing that up with hunger. And so I am drinking.
But talk a little bit more about emotional hunger at night.
Oh, so emotional hunger. By the way, sometimes I know I have emotional hunger. Like, it's very hard for me to stop working at night, but I'm tired now in a way I didn't used to be. So what I used to do was I would just eat, because if I was eating, I couldn't work. And so if I had my hands and my mouth going, like I couldn't be on my computer. And now I'm just like, I try to say, I'm done working.
When you feel tired, instead of eating, you feel, because we did a lot of work on that.
Yes. I either go to bed, you can work, you can sit and watch TV with Paul, my husband.
Yeah.
But you're not hungry. You're not hungry. So that's silly. You're not going to eat. And most of the time that works very well. There are times where the stress from the day, or I'm frustrated with something at home, or
but instead of that being a lot of the time, now it's
very rare. Very rare.
So I want people to see it doesn't just go away like you're never going to do it again.
Correct.
It's just that when it happens, when it does happen, how do you handle that when you do give in to an urge?
I recognize that I'm, fidgety, because I say to myself, it doesn't matter what you eat. It matters that you're eating. But if you're going to have to do this, if you're going to indulge yourself, the toddler, on this, at least make it something that's no sugar and not highly caloric.
But I just want to say, I think a little bit about what I'm alluding to is the idea is that once you give in to an urge, how does it not go on and on and on? That's what I want people to hear.
Okay. So it's over after that. I wake up the next morning and it just was yesterday. And, you've been talking a lot about coming back.
Yes.
That's a lot of what you've been talking about lately.
Yes.
And I really, really subscribe to coming back, because it's your life. Of course, you've got to come back. What are your choices? You can
come back to what?
Come back to yourself, right?
Yes.
You just come back to yourself. You're like, okay, where am I today?
Yes.
What do I need today? Am I hungry now? Am I thirsty now? A lot of times you don't even think about whether you're hungry or thirsty, because you're just living, because you're out of your head thinking about what your next meal is going to be. You always come back to you. It's so fundamental, and it sounds so simple, but it actually takes a lot of work to get there.
That's right. And I think when you can come back, that's when you don't have to punish yourself, and you can just come back to the next meal, eat when you're hungry and stop when you're full. And instead of making an overeat a night a week's affair or 2 weeks affair, it becomes a very short thing.
Correct.
For you.
Correct. And that's why this is the last time, because no diet is going to tell you that that's okay and you should be okay. It's like Monday morning, I'm going to start over. It has nothing
Yes.
to do with Monday morning. It has nothing to do with Monday morning. It has
Yeah.
to do with just the next moment coming back to yourself,
Yes. And coming back to your body
your body.
and giving it what it needs, because basically you like to eat healthy. It's not like this is a foreign thing. And a lot of people just really want to eat healthy. So when you can come back, and if you've overeaten at one meal, usually you just want to come back and eat something better if you're not going crazy in your head and punishing yourself.
Correct. Exactly. And I remember when you were in Belize
Yeah.
and you were like, I have all these fruits and vegetables here. I am so excited about all these fruits. And I've always loved fruits and vegetables, but somehow sweets just had a life of their own. And it's like, really, Dr. Deb, wouldn't you just rather have a lot of pastries in front of you,
Yeah.
And now I feel exactly the same way.
Yeah.
That's what my body wants. That's what it needs. That's what I eat. Honestly, I don't even view sweets as treats anymore. I don't know. I don't know how to explain it.
They're just sweet food, and sometimes you eat it, and most of the time you don't. It's
Right.
not a big deal.
I
No
can
drama.
I can take it or leave it.
I love it. That's the process. I can take it or leave it. You said it. So now I'll ask you one last question. What would you say to someone who was in your position way back when, who's listening now, who's thinking what you might have been thinking? What would you say to them about the process that you went through in working with me? How would you encourage them?
I would say that good for you, that you're interested and you really want to do this and you want to be successful, and that the weight is a symptom of other things that are happening with you that you want to get in touch with. And that it is hard work and you can do hard things. That's one of the biggest things I learned. I can do hard things. And that it is hard to do it on your own. It's really hard your brain's really strong. And it's going to try and convince you of a lot of different things. And having a coach, a really good coach like you, that calls your brain on its mishigas, BS, is really helpful because, I remember arguing with you like, no, this is fact. I think I said that in the beginning. And you're like, no, that's not like the sky is blue. And so getting the help from you, and I had listened to all the podcasts, it just enabled me to put all that information into practice in a way that I hadn't been able to do on my own.
Wonderful. And would you say that this was life-changing for you?
100%. I mean, my son's wedding is a really, really, it's the epitome of the example of it.
Yeah. Say a little bit about that.
Well, I guess you read my
I did.
letter.
I read it, but I think that's how we can end, is with your son's wedding and why this was so life-changing.
I was able to use almost everything that you've taught me to be completely and 100% present in the moment with my children as they got married. My daughter-in-law, I feel very much like you. She's my second daughter.
Yeah.
And by being so in touch with myself and my body and with what I needed, I was able to actually come out of myself and just be totally there. Does that make sense to you?
Total.
I have never felt so much joy because I wasn't worried about myself. I wasn't worried about my weight or what I was eating or my dress or my hair. I wasn't worried about myself. And I've realized that people who are very self-conscious, the way I used to be, it's almost a selfishness because people don't care. They care about how you make them feel and they care about your joy. And if you're negative because you feel bad about yourself, that's what they see, just negativity. Not that what other people, I'm just saying, if that's really your concern, what other people feel, you're going counter to what you're trying to achieve. Anyway, it was the most joyous. Even my husband and I were happier, I think, than at our own weddings, because I think at our wedding we were worried about other things. And here we weren't. And I'm just very, very grateful to the process and to you for getting me there.
Wow. Well, Donna, thank you so much for being on my podcast.
I love seeing you.
I love seeing you too. And you're going to inspire so many people today. So thank you.
I hope so. I hope so.
Okay.
Love you, Dr. Deb.
Thank you. I love you too, Donna.
Bye.
Bye. Well, I know. Was she inspirational or what? And what she said to me when we were done, one of the things that she said that I just wanted to share with you is that she's had a lot of therapy in her life. And she said that she believed it helped her, especially when we started coaching. She had some tools. But she said that coaching was really what helped her change her life, was the coaching aspect of it. And they're very, very different. So I just wanted to add that and just say again, what a joy it was to work with Donna and to be with her the whole way, holding her hand and helping her. Like she said, it took her a while. Even after she lost the weight, she still had mind work to do. And so she came back and we did some more. Sometimes that's what people need. A lot of times it's not what people need. But I will tell you what, you can always get what you want. And if you're somebody who would love to be the way Donna is now, then I want to encourage you to go to drdebbutler.com/work with me. And you can set up a 30-minute mini session where I can help you decide if what I have to offer you will help you. Because what I know when I do mini sessions is I know the people that I can help and I know the people that I can't help, which is why this is not on my website for you to be able to sign up for on your own. It needs to be a decision that's made with both of us together. So if you're ready to make this the last time that you ever have to lose weight again, then please go to drdebbutler.com/work with me. And always, I would never end this podcast, as Donna said and as she learned, without saying to you, no matter where you go or what you do, please, please, please be very, very kind to yourself. And I will see you next week. Bye-bye. If you're loving my podcast and you would like some more information to be able to follow along with, then please go to drdebbutler.com/change and you can get a free copy of my companion book that goes with this podcast that I refer to in many different episodes. That is drdebbutler.com/change. CHANGE.